Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Leah B. Jackson, and I am joined today by...
Stephen Frost. I'm the design producer at Carbine Studios working on the game WildStar.
All right, so today, what are we going to be looking at?
So right now we're looking at the Medic, which is our unreleased class. I use that term lightly because we've dropped the name like 900 times, but now it's official. We're coming out with it, and we're going to show you some really cool stuff today and some Medic builds and interesting attack mechanics here.
So where are we in the world right now? Because a lot of people haven't seen any actual in-game footage of WildStar aside from the dev speaks.
Sure.
So where are we? What are we doing?
So right now we are in Aurora. We're at a fort for the Dominion, and it's been completely ransacked here by the Osin, which are these giant creatures that you can see, like that guy right over there. They've been tearing up the place, and all our cannons are wrecked and been destroying our robots. So what we're doing right now is we're going to take this fort back and kill a lot of these Osin.
And what level medic are you playing as right now?
I am a 22 medic right now. And so one of the cool things about WildStar is you can build up your abilities however you want. So you can see here we have the action set builder. So what I've done is created a build that has a mix of both damage per second abilities and heal abilities. So I'll kind of go through them to show you the combo that I like. We'll start with this guy here. What I like to start with is a probe. Probes are these damage per second or heal per second abilities. So I'll start by putting one on this guy. And the cool thing is you can see this little thing right here. It's ticking off health from him. But I can also detonate that probe at the very end to get more damage per second off of him. So if I do it now, boom, I just got some more damage per second.
Gotcha. And then, so you can play as a damage dealer and a healer at the same time, same spec?
That is correct, yeah. So, and it depends on like what you want to do. We have the holy trinity in our game, meaning tank, healer, DPS. And what we like to do is kind of have you decide if you want to be straight up DPS or if you want to do only heals, or like myself, I have kind of a both build. So let's say I get into some trouble or something, I can just heal myself instantly. Boom.
So would you say that's like the best kind of spec to go for leveling? You want to have a little bit of both, but towards, will there be players who just want the healing specs and just want the DPS specs?
The cool thing about WildStar is you can play how you want to play. So I like to have my oh shit ability for heals, like, well, crap, I'm in trouble, better heal myself. And if you're leveling with friends, these are great too. This one is gigantic and restores health to yourself and allies.
So when you hover over that one, the telegraph, can you kind of talk a little bit about the telegraphs and how the telegraphs work for the medic?
Sure. So the telegraphs work in our game kind of like they show you where damage is going to hit effectively. So you can see the blue areas are areas where I'm going to hurt this creature. You can also see the red on the ground there, and they're going to hurt me if I'm in that area as well. And so we focus a lot of our gameplay on staying out of the red and lining these guys up to be in the areas that you're hitting. And we also have something called our vulnerability. So basically if I'm fighting this guy and I interrupt him while he's telegraphing, they go vulnerable and they actually take more damage. So if you're using your CC correctly, you can actually take those guys out pretty easily.
So you were talking a little bit about the probes earlier. Can you go into a little bit more detail about probes and show us some more probe kind of stuff?
Sure. Yeah, so this is a probe right here. There's different types, and I'll pull up some examples, but this is a Devastator probe. So as you can see, it attaches to whoever I get in that telegraph, and if I get 3 guys in there, 3 probes will be on 3 different enemies. Now the fun part is, every 2 seconds it ticks off damage, but I can also do a second press and it detonates the probe for more damage. Okay. So the smart player would put the probe on the person, wait until it's about to expire, then detonate it right before so you can get maximum damage.
Okay.
So we'll use that as an example here. So if I come up here, I usually like to lead with it. Start out here, get out of the way, I'll CC him.
And how many probes can you have out at once again?
You can have multiple. And in fact, after we dispatch this guy, we'll add some more on there to show you some other interesting things. And they work for healing as well. So if I want to put some probes on some homies, I can do the same thing where I detonate those at any time of my choosing. But it's best to do it right before it expires so you can get the maximum usage of those things.
And then, what are the 4 big red circles that just regenerated at the on your HUD there?
So these are things that you have to fill up. Basically, it's our resource that allows you to use certain abilities. So when I fill some of these up, some of my abilities will use these things. Different abilities do different things, whether it's over time or whether it's using that. But it kind of just depends on what abilities you're going for.
Okay.
So let's show off some other stuff too. We have, this is the build I like just for PvE kind of leveling up stuff. But we have some really cool ones as well. So we'll take off the...
And is this like your super mod version, or can anyone change their ability set at any time like you just did?
Yeah, anybody can do this. This is not modded, but we do have moddable UI, so if people wanted to kind of mess around with that, they definitely could. But anybody, pretty much if you're not in combat, you can change this at any point in time.
Okay, that's really neat.
Yeah, so if I wanted to change out some abilities, let's do atomize here.
And do you have to have a certain amount of abilities from each little like assault support section, or can you just do however many you want?
Pretty much you can do however you want. We're still kind of toying with this, to be honest with you. It could change. We're in beta right now, so we're still kind of toying with, do we want to limit a certain amount? But for the most part, you can just pick whatever you want so that you can do that. We also have something that I'll show off here. We have these points that I can level up the abilities. So, for example, if I wanted Atomize to do more power, I could use these points, which you can see right here.
Okay.
And I can add more into them, and they become more powerful the more I level them up throughout the game.
Gotcha.
So, for example, at its base, this does 1,035 technology damage to foes, and is usable when landing a crit hit. At this level, it does 1,210 technology damage, and is usable after a crit hit.
And then if you level them up now and put them on your bar, can you not go back and like...
I can still change them.
Okay.
So, like, let's say I've changed, like, oh man, I hate Atomize. I don't like it at all. I'm just going to put it to its base. I can then put it into this one if I wanted to.
Neat.
Yeah, so you can do that at any point. So this is cool because you can kind of figure out what is my build, what do I like the most, and I'm going to just completely maximize that set. That's for
And then
me.
how do you get these points when you level up?
Yeah, it's completely, when you level up, you'll get a certain amount of these. Another thing, which this is kind of a work in progress, but I'll show a little bit of this off,
Oh my
is...
gosh,
yeah,
that's confusing looking.
It's not that bad, I swear. So if you look at different sections of this is the AMP system. You can click here, and it shows strike through 1, and you can say, okay, I don't have enough power because this is something that we're still working on in beta. But basically, I can put into this different levels, and so let's say that crit hit 1 will get me +2 critical hit % chance.
Okay.
So I can level that up all the way to here. For PvP stuff, there's like a deflect chance or that sort of thing. Uh-oh, there's a dude on this. Hold on.
Okay.
Uh-oh, gotta click out. Yes, leave.
Yes, I want to leave this build.
So we can CC this guy, get out of there, trap him in it.
Okay, that was really awesome. Tell us what you did there.
Okay, so that ability allows me to kind of put a snare on him and leap backwards at the same time. It's sort of a I need to get the hell out of dodge sort of effect, and it leaves a good area of effect damage as well. So I'm just going to heal myself there real quick, just to cover myself, but I can do it again. Boom, there you go.
That is neat.
So you snare him and keep him there. What's cool about the medic is they have medium armor, and a lot of what they do is based on movement, and you have to be a lot more mobile when you're being a healer with a medic. Something like a Spellslinger or Esper, it's a lot more about distance and staying back. Those guys are squishy, they have light armor. This guy is completely about being in the fight with everybody else, moving around, and having abilities that allow him to move around and still heal at the same time.
So as such, are his telegraphs like different or shorter range or longer range than the other classes that can also heal that you mentioned?
They're mostly medium to short range, so they are in fact pretty different when it comes to that stuff. So this guy, you'll notice his range compared to like a Spellslinger or Esper is much smaller. Okay. So it definitely means that you're going to have to be moving around a lot more, but you're not exactly like a big guy like a warrior or our other unrevealed class. Yeah, so I mean, these guys are all about just getting in there, avoiding telegraphs, but if you take a couple here and there, you should be okay, but it's all about getting in the fight. And, personally speaking, when I play MMOs, I'm not huge into healing, but these guys are a lot more fun because you can get in there and heal. It's not just about clicking bars and, you know, sitting back and enjoying it. This one's about getting into the fight and aiming your heals on where you want to go. It's not just click this guy and he's healed. It's a lot more getting in there.
But there are things like the fields for the medic.
Correct.
As well. So
yeah,
that's another different type of healing that, you know, they kind of have that not a lot of the other healers have.
Yeah, very true. And in fact, when I dispatch this guy, I will show you some more of the other stuff that we have.
So while you're getting rid of this guy, can you talk about the medic's weapons? Because they seem really neat.
Yeah, these are resonators. They're kind of like shock paddles, but, you know, they could melt somebody's insides or heal them, you know. So they're very much about getting in there and either healing a dude or melting a dude's spleen. So we'll change the abilities out here. You can find them under utility. So we have like a couple of things. This one's good for PvP mostly because it's like you can break CC. So if I'm in a stun or something like that, I can hit that and get out of it. Let's look at some other ones. Recharge. It's pretty cool. Powering probes. That's another hot example, for example.
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's check that out. So if I wanted to hit this on myself, I could.
So that one will heal you?
Mm-hmm. You'll see that 6 seconds down there. It's going off.
Oh, yes.
So what I want to do here is basically just let that kind of stay on me for a while, and I'm good to go. But I can also do that with other people in the group as well. Snare this guy. Usually those abilities are, you know, I'm the only dude on this server right now, basically, so they're better in group examples, but...
All right.
But we can definitely do stuff like this where I can instant heal myself and keep myself alive.
Okay. So what kind of person is going to want to play a medic rather than a spellslinger or an esper to heal?
So the type of person that likes to be a lot more movement-based and get into the fight. There's also some abilities that allow you to actually attack and heal at the same time.
Okay.
So, you know, it'll hurt an enemy and it'll help an ally.
Gotcha. So, well, do you think that, you know, if you're doing those abilities that will hurt and heal, that your party is going to say, why don't you just heal? Like,
you
know?
could, yeah. I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, some of the abilities, it's good to have a mix of the two. You can go just straight up heals. You know, that is, for the most part, you can do that. Like, we have builders on here, and I might not be high enough level to get them, but there are abilities that, you know, we have a builder ability, right, which is this ability, the number 1 here, that are just for heals. So I can just be healing people, and that'll fill these up to let me spend other abilities as well, so that I can do that. So if you want to do that, you can totally do that. Or if you want to be somebody that's kind of a mix, or if you want to be a DPS sort of person, and then have a couple of heals of, let's say that you have a Esper or Spellslinger that's not pulling their weight on the heals, you can kind of go like, don't worry about it, I got these 2 abilities to help out.
Just go turn into a deer. I'll deal with it.
Right, yeah. Turn into a rainbow deer. It's fine.
So how are they portrayed in the game, if that's the case? Because not all of them are going to be, you know, healers. So how, like, I guess, how are the NPCs medics portrayed, and how are they portrayed in the lore, kind of?
You know, these guys are totally about you know, science and heals and stuff like that. They're not about alchemy. Like, the Spellslinger is kind of a weird mix, and the Esper is more kind of the mental sort of vibe of things. This one's more about the science of healing and of, like I said, melting pancreases and such.
Gotcha. So what different kinds of, like, the warriors have an arm cannon, and the Espers have a side blade. Do medics have any sort of, you know, helpful gadget?
Well, I mean, they're resonators, which are the things on the back here. I mean, they're multi-purpose in that, you know, you can switch these things up to being damage or healing. They also have the probes, as we were talking about earlier. So they've got lots of stuff. You know, in WildStar, we try to vary it up, so it's not just you're focusing on one weapon. There's lots of cool things that you have kind of in your arsenal. So these guys...
what is that bar by his head that keeps coming up? Is that your sprint bar?
Oh, yeah. So that right there is sprint. So if I... you can see it down here, too, as well. But... let's get this guy. You can definitely see where you're going with that. And kind of it's something that we reacted to in beta, where some people are saying, you know, I don't quite know always where my sprint is and stuff, so we put it on there as something that we could see quite visually.
I definitely see also the Tron visuals that you were referencing in the DevSpeak video. It seems very like technological. And
what's cool too is it kind of sounds like a Daft Punk like song with these abilities. There's a lot of like dubstep sounding, whoa, like you're dropping the beat all the time with these things. It's one of my favorite sound design classes, just because there's so many weird techie instruments of it. But yeah, that Tron look for sure is definitely in this.
And then, so what races can play as a medic?
So there's a few. The Mordesh on the Exile side, humans can. I believe Draken can. I think Grandok can as well. What else do we have? The Makari. I think that's it.
All right.
I think.
We'll make sure that everyone knows exactly who can play as a medic. So that's really cool. Are there any other awesome things about the medic that we need to know about?
You know, if you're the type of person that, you know, has kind of shied away from healing before because you felt it was just, you know, the person that just sits in the corner of the dungeon or raid or whatever and just heals bars constantly, this is totally the class for you if you don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun, a lot more mobile, and once you master all the little things about it, it's a really cool DPS class as well as a healing class.
And it seems like it will be easy to level as this medic, too, because a lot of times in MMOs it's kind of hard to level up as the healer unless you get stuck, you know, in dungeon groups all the time. But it seems like with this you can, you know, you have both, and you're supposed to be both.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a ton of fun. It's, you know, the problem that you have kind of with other, you were saying earlier, you know, what would be the purpose of having an ability that damages and heals at the same time? Leveling up, that's a great usage of stuff. If you're leveling up with a buddy or something like that, it's a ton of fun to do. And it's actually, you know, not something where you're like, oh, I feel very limited and not as powerful as other medics in other games. I think ours definitely gives you the option to be a badass DPS/healer as well.
All right, well, thank you so much for showing us the medic, and we'll see you in the next class soon.
All right, sounds good.
For more on WildStar, stay tuned to IGN.